Welcome back to our Global IT Solution GITS Cypress channel on lecture 7. Before you started this lecture, I highly encourage you to complete previous lecture related with this course. So today, let's get started and jump on the topics. Today we'll be learning about test automation architect, how to do a test automation architecture. Basically, before you started the test automation, you have to have the design first as an end-to-end design, like as end-to-end architect you have to have in handy so you can follow the steps and follow the guidelines. So also the next point will be, I'll be adding on the previous lecture of what we believe, what we know. We already add two tests, only one test from the UI side as a UI validation from the Heroku apps, and we validated only one links, right, which is a A/B testing. Now also we'll be adding in this lecture rest of the 43 UI test assertion from the Heroku apps. If we go to the Heroku apps and let's go ahead and see the what is the apps look like, which is the internet.coms, right? So this is the internet Heroku apps.com. So we are automating these web pages. So we automated only one links. We'll be adding rest of the links validation. Now the number one will be we'll be looking into our test automation architectures. How do we architect as it like the test automation suite, right? Now I'll be explaining from the beginning. From today, whoever watching this video, you will be very familiar with the test automation architectures from scratch to architecture level, right? So think about in your real project, you are using ADO as your DevOps, or you are using Jira, any one of them. So ADO, it comes with the project management, test case management, bug management, pipeline management, everything's in a one shot. Jira also comes with as a project management, test case management, bug management, not the DevOps management. So that's why people are moving to Jira to ADO in these days. So also think about, you have any one of the platforms and you are using that any ADO or Jira for the Scrum board or Kanban board, right, in a Agile Scrum, in a Agile process. So think about, you have a story backlog, then the story gets into the sprint refinement meetings, right, and then the sprint planning meetings. After that, after the sprint planning meetings, once we logged our user stories, then basically that the logged user stories, once we log the user stories, basically we groom the user stories, which is a refinement, and we put the story point also, right, and how many story goes into the sprint, we logged it. So on that story has an acceptance criteria. There is a two format. One is a BDD format, which is a BDD Gherkin syntax, which is a given and then format, or traditional format, given as a user I want to click on that link so that see the results, right, that format. So it is once the acceptance criteria is approved by the BA, QA and the developer, which is the sprint planning meeting and the sprint refinement meeting, then when the sprint started, during the beginning of the sprint, manual tester writing the test cases, including baby steps, including test data, and the manual validation happens. After the manual test cases written, it is approved by the product owner or another QA engineer. Then when the application is ready, manual validation it's done on the applications, right? After the manual testing, then think about developer has a source code repository. From the source code repository, as an automation engineer, we clone the repo. It could be like Java Selenium, it could be JavaScript, or it could be like C#, any programming language. Think about, you have a framework, you have a source code repo, you clone the repo, source code repo. Then on that source code repo, you have to create your automation framework. On that source code repo, think about you are using any one of them for only for UI, only for API, or both UI API or UI API and middleware plus backend, right? So you can come up with the framework technology, which is an automation framework technology. Could be Java, Selenium, could be Playwright, Java, C#, Python, JavaScript, could be cypressio, could be Protector, any one of them. Then on that base framework, you create a test folder. Underneath the test folder, you create your Scratch project based on this design. So on that framework, automation suite framework, you have to have as a mandatory all the concept, like as a you will have a test case suite, which is you will be validating your test. Then you will have page object model for the UI standpoint. Core concept will be data-driven framework, keyword-driven framework, and common utils class. And also that has to be agnostic on the browser and environment. So agnostic meanings it could be running on dev environment, QA environment, production environment, any environment you can run on it, right? The browser also, Chrome browser, Edge browser, Firefox, any browser you can run it. Also in the test suite, basically you have to have the couple of things. Base test, which is you can configure your base test, base space from the UI standpoint, you can initialize your base space. Data driven concept, which is manipulating your data. Keyword driven concept, which is managing functional keywords into the class, so you can call it later on for reusable purpose. And the utils files, inside the utils files you can have many configuration, database configuration, wrapper class, helper class, right, and many of them. So then once you have the framework up and ready, then you can two-way run that suite. One of the option is you can run your suite, test suite in a local environment, local machine, execute on the terminal and generate the report, and that report you can send to the 3Amigo, or you can deploy to the hosting environment so everyone can see it. Or you can create your own branch, local branch based on the feature. So once you have the test cases, that's mean the user stories, that user stories are ready to automate. In that case, you can create your own features and automate everything, all the validation, and you can create a pull request against the master branch, right? Once you have a pull request, basically it is reviewed by the developer, QA, another QA automation engineer. Once it is approved, it is merged into the master branch, and it is automatically generate a CI/CD report, right? One of them is a CI, which is a continuous integration nightly build. Another one is a CD, which is based on the each push, it will be generating the report. So that's mean based on the daily nightly builds and the based on the build on push, it will generate two type of HTML report and sending to the team or sending to the deployment hosting environment, deploying to the hosting environment. So this is how the way it's adds value from the automation standpoint for the business. And end of the day, business wants to see the report as a metrics during the release, how many iterations happens, and during the iteration, how many total user stories. Out of the total user stories, how many of them manual test cases, how many of them automated, and how many of them pass and fails and comments is there any. This is all about like test automation architecture. You should know about it before start driving or before start writing your automation script as an automation engineer. So now from today you are become a test automation architect. Wow, that's good. It's so quick, right? So you can take a screenshot from the video, like that you can use on your own purpose. But this is the Scratch automation architectures, which is provided by the GITS. Now come back to the second one. Add 44 UI test assertion from the internet website. So we added one assertion on the last times. Let's add rest of them, right? Add, remove elements and all others. So now on that, in this automation suite, which is we are continuing from the previous lecture, as you see there is two of them. right, for the A/B testing one. So we'll be adding rest of them. So I already have the code, I already added, work it on the offline, so video can get a smaller version of it, right? So let me copy and paste it there. Copy it and paste it. This is going to be a same concept and exactly like same code which is we generated the previously with the two validation, right? So as you see that this is A/B testing, this is add remove element, this is basic auth, and this is broken image. Exact same thing on the web, add remove, basic add, broken image, challenging down, right? So we added 43 assertion, link assertion, that's mean 44 multiplied 2, right? So which is a 80, 96, around 96 assertion we added over here. Let's go ahead and run our test. So as we know, npm run test, we already configured that script inside the script block inside the package.json file. Let's see our test is running or not. There you go. So all the test is passed. Now we added the assertion. Where we at in this automation, in this architectures? Let's take a look. So we already have the features ready to automate. Then we create our local branch. We are here at this moment. We create our local branch. From that branch, we are following our test suite. This is the test cases suite, validation, assertion, integrated functional integration. So this is the location where we at this moment in our automation, in our lecture 7, Cypress lecture 7. So that's when we have the user studies ready to automate. Then we create our local branch. From that local branch, we are trying to implementing the test suite validation assertion. After that, we'll be moving into little by little with the base test, base page, data-driven, keyword-driven, utils, page object model, core concept, everything. So we'll be following along with these architectures. Hope it is helpful for you, and thank you so much for watching this lecture. Stay tuned for upcoming lecture for the rest of this course.